So we're back with another episode of Arise, a Simple Story. We just left the episode titled Fruit, where we seem to be like crashing to our doom after reaching the top of that flower stalk. And this next episode opens with a pretty tragic, seemingly tragic scene, given that we just found out that our character and his wife were expecting a child. And this episode starts with that child seemingly dying, maybe dying at birth. And so here's the opener here, Ashes. I think I'm fiddling with the controls here at the beginning. The main menu comes up here in a second, but I finally kind of figure out what I'm expected to do. The character is not really moving very easily at this point. I think he's fatigued. He's kind of still dragging his feet, and so I'm trying to figure out and get my footing here. And the character actually falls a few times here at the beginning. Here's the main menu popping up. Sorry about this. I was just trying to kind of figure out if there was something wrong with the controls. But he starts stumbling forward. And you can't really make out the direction you're supposed to go in. You can see through the smoke here that there does seem to be a small opening ahead. But he falls to his knees not once but twice. Before finally kind of pushing on over these pretty large thorny vines. I think it's some sort of huge thicket that we have to traverse through. And so, the fire is a pretty foreboding, ominous, and recurring element in this level. And so is darkness, actually. So we're going to see a couple of mechanics come back into play here. And we're going to see an interplay between some of the mechanics that really cause a kind of a tug of war between making progress and having to kind of really figure out the puzzle, so to speak. And I think this is so far one of the strongest examples of Arise as a puzzle game. Throughout the different parts we've completed so far. And so kind of we're also seeing some of the assets kind of fade into the foreground here, which I don't remember seeing in previous episodes. So it kind of adds to the crowded, clustered, kind of claustrophobic effect here. And so we're jumping through. There aren't a lot of platforms in this level, but there is a lot of the hook mechanic shows up a lot. So do the phantoms, as you can see coming up right here, show up. And so this first part's fairly simple. I kind of just run around these ghosts, these phantoms, and I'm trying to use the time lapse to see if I can kind of freeze time, but it doesn't actually freeze time. And I've used the rewind mechanic to help make those flames recede into the background to give myself some room. And you're going to see that come up repeatedly. I actually thought I died right here, but I just had to push forward a little bit and hop on this rock. And so we get to our first cinematic. This is kind of, I think, where the name of the level comes from, Ashes. The statue's engulfed in flames and then kind of dissolves into ash. So it also opens up the next part of the level. And so again, we're going to use the time lapse feature here to kind of get around and get through these flames. And so it'll make them recede and create walkable ground here. There is a burn mechanic in the game that comes up in this level, and you're going to see here I get this choke point. I die or I get defeated quite a few times before figuring out how to use the fire to my advantage to kind of snuff out the ghosts. And so I'm gonna fail, not once, not twice, but 3 or 4 times here as it gets really dark. And I try either side. I tried jumping, and then I kind of jumped into the crowd there and get engulfed by the phantoms. And I do find that I'm supposed to get around this rock, but I go around the wrong side. And again, I'm getting stuck, and whether I'm burning myself or getting caught by the phantoms, I'm kind of stuck here. So I need to find the way to the other side, which is what I'm desperately trying to figure out here. But if I go around the rock, I think I'm going to get grabbed which doesn't happen. So I make it around. Um, so now you're gonna see the flames mechanic kind of come into play in a more significant way for the rest of the level. So I'm going to have to essentially turn on and off the fire using the rewind mechanic kind of as a pendulum. So I have to almost let the flames lick my heels to in order to get around uh, the phantoms, and I don't really do it here actually. I should have been using it earlier. In fact, it probably would have helped me navigate this spot a little bit quicker. However, I think I just end up running through and hopping around this. But you'll see later on that I'm kind of almost leading the flames through the level in order to snuff away or extinguish the phantoms here. So again, I keep getting caught here. I should have used the fire mechanic, but I hadn't yet discovered that that's what it did. Um, and so I'm just kind of I'm gonna brute force this section in order to get through to the next part. So I keep hugging the side here. I can't climb up that vine, so I keep jumping, and getting caught. And finally, I kind of maneuver my way through here. There is a little bit of a gap there where I can kind of jump across and cut through the crowd. So I'm beginning to have some second thoughts and doubts about which way I'm supposed to go. But eventually I make it here. So let's see if this is the time that I make it. I jump through, and get caught one more time. So I believe you can only be touched by the phantoms so many times before you're defeated, because it looks like they can kind of you can run into them a few times before you get defeated. So let's push you there one more time and see if this is when I make it. So again, I'm trying to explore all options here, because obviously the way I've been trying it has not been working. So I'm kind of letting them come to me. See if I can bait them a little bit. I cut through the gap. I'm juking, I'm jumping, I'm juking again. I cannot get around this, but I make it around there, and I jump through, and I find my open spot, and I see what was previously in the gorge level with all the lightning, the kind of Pacific Northwest level. That was what reminded me of it. But I have to grab onto these rocks and then and climb up. So I'm actually trying to figure out which key it is. So I finally figure out that it's shift, and so shift is what I need to use to latch on to the handholds here. So we finally make it up there, and then we jump we jump across the gap here. So this is when I start to figure out the mechanic. So you can see like I'm pushing them forward, and it creates an opening for me that I then exploit to kind of walk through. So I'm holding the flames back here. There's no phantoms for me to extinguish yet, so I don't yet realize that it would help me get rid of them. So I'm kind of just wandering aimlessly. So don't know where to go here. I think I find a hook mechanic soon. Oh no! It kind of it opens up the pathway. So the other thing is the flames are also burning away some of the thorns that we use for bridges. So this is the first of, I think, 2 or 3 bridges that open up when I pull the flames back, and I don't think I pulled them back far enough here. I did. Oh, here's the second cinematic. Okay, so we jump down here. It burns down the next effigy of our family, and then we move forward. And so this upper cliff is kind of engulfed in flames. You can see the phantoms ahead there. We have to walk along the bottom edge here. And this is where I get stuck for several minutes trying to figure out what these flames do, right? And so they very clearly like make the phantoms go away, and I'm trying to figure out, well, at what point can I walk up here, extinguish the phantoms, not get burned, right? So I'm trying to leverage the mechanic. You can see I'm kind of using it to melt them away, and then create space for myself to walk to the right here along the edge, But I don't yet know that's where I'm supposed to go. So I found out I'm not supposed to go this way. Nowhere to go here. Almost burned myself to death. And then I'm getting caught by the phantoms. So let's push them away again. And then see if I can get them to get the flame mechanic to work. So I finally see the anchor point. And man, I must have fallen here like you're gonna see probably 4, 5, 6, 7 times. So first I fall because I don't utilize the momentum well enough, um, and I'm dead set on trying to make this ledge, and I do, right. I make the ledge, but I guess what's happening is I'm falling from such a great height. I'm kind of falling to my death still. I'm hitting the ground too hard. I guess that's theoretically like what's happening with my character. But I'm dancing with the flames here. I'm melting away I'm extinguishing the phantoms, and so the phantoms aren't really posing a problem. What I'm trying to do is figure out, well, at what point do I grab onto this anchor and sling myself across the gap? Because that's what I'm trying to do, right? Clearly, this is set up so that I can swing across the gap. And who knows? You know what? I bet there's a way to get that to work. And you can see that as I retract the flames here in a second, the thorn actually kind of retracts and elevates me a little bit, and so maybe I can make it across that gap using this mechanic. But eventually, what I realize is that I'm supposed to let these flames recede enough to the left side of the screen here, because what they've done is they've burned away a bridge, and I need to use the bridge to get across. And I don't yet figure that out. I'm still sitting here toying around with clearing off this spot, not getting caught by the phantoms, and then trying to use this hook. And it's a useless endeavor because apparently this is not what you're supposed to do to traverse the gap. You're supposed to use this bridge that you can see kind of the asset being melted away right below me here. And man, I'm sitting here talking to my Twitch chat trying to figure this out, and I look like an idiot just continuously slamming against the side of the cliff face there. But we make it back up. I'm hoping that for the sake of all of this explanation, this is the last time that I have to go up there. So you can see the bridge, the thorn bridge right there, bridging the gap there, for lack of a better phrase. And yet I keep kind of burning myself. I keep trying to swing across, and then and I still try to do it again. Do I do it again? Do I finally use the flames? Nope, I do it again and I die. So I'm sure most of you are probably as frustrated as I am, especially if you've done this before. It took me a while to figure this out. And so the great thing is after this, the level is fairly simple. And this Ashes was actually pretty short. And I like that because the last 2 levels, Fruit going into this one, they blended. There was no break. And so I think it's good that this one was a little shorter. It's also a little bit more negative than what we were coming out of, right? We kind of rediscovered our love in the starlit swamp level, with the starry night and all the kind of the flowers, and then we rise to the top of the flower and the fruit level, only to kind of fall to our doom and get some really bad news at the top of this episode. But yeah, I mean, trying to fill the airspace here because you can see I'm continuously dying in this level, and please let this be the time. Please let this be the time that I figure it out. I finally, yep, this is the time I figured out. I pulled the flames all the way back, and I got there. I made it across, and now I let the flames lick back across, push back the shades, and I keep going. Right? Look at that, the power of flame. Just keep extinguishing all the phantoms here, and make my way across. This is kind of a really cinematic portion of the level. I like this. You're kind of using both mechanics seesawing against each other a little bit. Um, and so here, it's almost a dead end, but I do have to jump down again, I'm sure. Or don't I? Nope, that wasn't. I wasn't supposed to jump down. Um, I need to. I do need to jump down. Or the flames will. I think the flames come back a little bit. I guess I was just maybe that one time I got burned at the same time. I don't know. But here we go. The other anchor point. Um, this one I learned my lesson the last time. I need to wait and let the flames do their work, so to speak. Right. So here we go. I think I do fail this one time. I think I slam against the wall and fall. Yep. So with this one, I think I'm supposed to wait on something to materialize around me before proceeding. So again, I have to use the rewind mechanic, the fast forward mechanic, to my advantage. And I'm getting a little frustrated at this point because these anchor points don't really make it that clear. I think the funny thing is the anchor points have been used in the past to kind of sling you across gaps, and it seems like in this level the anchor point is meant to be used to kind of hold you in place for a little bit while um, while you wait for the fire to either turn something to ashes or peel away and reveal some other way to traverse the level. So here we go, using the anchor point again, and then let's see what the rewind mechanic does. And I don't know if I figure it out here. Nope, I die again. I promise you this time I do not fail as much this time as I did in the previous section. But that time I guess I just decide I'm gonna jump off without hooking the thorn there. But there's something that burns away here that I need to climb on, I believe. And so let's see. Once I get everything to burn away, there we go. I'm supposed to pull them all to one side and then go back, and that way I can go back up. So I think there are now climbing points. Yep, there's climbing points, which I don't think were there before. Please tell me they weren't there before, because I could have just skipped this entire thing. I'm sure somebody will tell me after watching this video. So this is where the seesaw comes back in with the flames and the phantoms. And so we're going to use the flames to kind of peel away and extinguish the phantoms. Here we go. I really like this part. And so now, whereas before the flames were chasing us, we're now chasing the flames, and the phantoms are to our back. And so here we go. Crossing over this bridge, pushing through. And then I believe this opens up the final part of the level, which I thought was really cinematic, because once you peel away the flames here and go through this last little gap of flames, now it's a little bit tighter. You see. Here I'm having to kind of dance the left and right keys, and the last effigy here is being burned away of our wife and our child. And I believe this is where it reveals the long set of handholds that go all the way to the top. And I think we look up here and we see a gap. We see a cave here, or the cave exit, rather, that is our exit. So I believe that's kind of the light that we see coming down. So let's see if the character looks up yet. Should be coming up soon. Yeah, here we go. So he looks up and he sees our way out. It's close by. That rock wall is covered with those thick thorns, but once we play with the time lapse mechanic, uh, we'll be able to make it out. So I noticed that right away. You can see them on the wall there, and we use the time lapse mechanic to kind of retract the vines and make them recede a little bit. And this is pretty simple. The rest of the level, obviously I remember the shift key, and I do believe you can fail here. Obviously, I think I'm just a pro at this point, but I do believe you can fail if you're not using your directional keys the right way, or if you decide to try to make a too strong of a leap. Although I was able to skip a few steps there. Um, and yeah, this. I think this is a really cool way to end the level. More verticality. We're climbing out of a dangerous situation and kind of exiting into sunlight, which I think is the last level ended on darkness, and this level is going to end with us walking into the light, which I think is pretty fitting, and you can see we get the Steam achievement there. So here we go, walking into the sunshine. So there's a better way to end the episode, I think. Hopefully the next episode is uplifting. We can see we're leading our wife to hopefully better days. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thanks for watching.